So bring some out for all of us, and let's see what we've got.
Yeah, so I've got a question here. Somebody wants to know, they already have a halftone pattern in their design. They want to know what rasterizing that can do for it.
So if your design is already rasterized, then chances are you don't need to rasterize it again. So, I mean, that's what rasterizing does. When I talk about rasterizing a design, and that's a great question. First of all, let me thank you for asking that question. And I'd like to take the time to really sort of help people maybe try and get a better feel for that. And also, I'll mention, there are a lot of questions that we get about how things work. And so, our little chipmunk brain spinning around up here, we're always thinking about this stuff. And I hope that you see how much work that we put into putting this material together for this event. And so we're using all of those chipmunk brains to come up with some new ideas to how that we can demonstrate, for example, how putting the white toner first differs from putting it last, and and how things affect the way the things work in the design, and how that affects the washing and things like that. And this rasterization is another one of those areas where we'd love to be able to make some kind of a graphical representation that helps. And in the piece that we did earlier, my guy Holden here is phenomenal, all right? Phenomenal. So, he came up with that, built that together for us. I thought he did a nice job with it. We've got that solid design, the water trying to get through that, and the rasterized design makes it simple. But basically, rasterization, technically it's screening, all right? When I'm printing on my iColor printer, and I'm putting color down onto the transfer sheet, the printer, or actually the RIP in this case, is putting the toner, those 5-micron toner particles, in a screen pattern. And if you're familiar at all with commercial print terms, then you would compare that to what's called a 270 LPI commercial print job. So that's effectively what commercial printers refer to as photo quality printing. All right, it looks like a photo to the naked eye. Then what the rasterization is doing is it's taking that photo quality screening and it's putting it inside of a much coarser screen. So if you're a screen printer, then you're probably familiar with screen printing at 25 LPI or 30 LPI, something like that. That's a really coarse screen, so that's big dots, okay? So what's happening is we're taking the design, we've got this screen pattern, and we're knocking out around this screen pattern into those coarser dots and filling it with the photographic quality image inside of that. So that's what that rasterization is, and that's this half-toning effect. And, certainly you can do it other than in the RIP. I mean, the RIP is not the only place where you can do that. You can do it in Photoshop. It's just a lot harder to do in Photoshop. And a lot of people, really don't have the time, they don't have the experience to be able to do it in Photoshop. But if your design is already half-toned, where you've got that rasterized image in Photoshop, you're ready to go. Just print it with screening in the printer, and you'll get those photo quality images inside of that half-tone pattern. Does that answer your question? Clear as mud? We'll try and put that on our list to create some more, some more graphical answers to in ongoing webinars. We're trying to do more and more and more of these days. I know there was Josh, you came up with a question earlier about the Smart Cut with 3 pieces. That's what it was. I remember now. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's. We've got a little piece that we can show that with. Let's put that up. So here's our Smart Cut software. And what we do is we're dragging an image and we're dropping it in so that we can start working with it. We see the size. We can go in and specify, how we want to divide this up. So the first thing I want to do is I want to stick an 8.5 by 17 sheet down on the page, and then I want to select the custom size and set it up so I can do a big piece and a sheet piece. All right. So this will split this into 2 pieces. So every time that you split, you're just doing 1 split at a time. In this case, I also realized that I'd cut right through the hand, so I hit the stop button and came back over and wanted to stretch that out so that I'm not cutting through, really important detail that people might notice. And if we can split quickly around things that people aren't going to notice, you won't find the seam. So now on the left-hand side, I've got my 8.5 by 17. I've got my custom size on the right. So now I'll just go back to the right-hand side, and I'm going to split it one more time so that I get my 3 pieces out of it. I load in my 2 8.5 by 17 sheets. I drag them around so that I've got a nice area selected where the software can go through and find a good place to split this design. To split. And so now I've got my 3 pieces here. So now we load these up into the printer. We want to make sure our printer is set in the B configuration. The B configuration has the white in the back. And I load my design. This is it's 3 pages saved in a PDF file. So it'll load all 3 pages in at once. Now we're going to put this onto a white shirt. So, I mean, a yellow shirt. I'm sorry, yellow shirt. I'm sitting here looking at this yellow shirt and somehow saying that it's going to be white. It's not. You want to make sure you see how the transparency setting is so critical here. And here I'm doing the line function. So I'm putting in these vertical lines to do the breakup on this, because this is going to be a really big design. I mean, it's what, 16 inches wide and 12, 13 inches tall. So it's a really big design. So I don't want that much plastic on the front of this shirt. So I'm using the line function to break this up and then printing those 3 pieces out. So here's my 3 pieces, and I've already applied the adhesive to them. So we're ready to start working with these. So there's all 3 pieces here, and I've trimmed the edges on these. So now, and here's my shirt. I'm running this at 300 for this is a cotton piece. And what I want to do is put these together like this. Right, like this. So now I put these together like this because, see, that helps me to see how this overall design is going to go onto my garment. So now I know I need to, you know, sort of twist this around like this so I can get this, you know, squared up, lined up, and where I want it to actually end up being on this shirt. All right. Now, once I've got that, this is a three-piece design. So 1, 2, 3. And I want to save some time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the two ends off, and I'm just going to press the middle piece. All right, so I put this on, and when I'm pressing this, I'm going to press this with medium light pressure. All right, so not too much pressure, you know, medium light pressure for about 15, 20 seconds max kind of thing, because I just want it to tack onto the shirt. So I just want it to kind of stick to the shirt a little bit like that. All right, so let's see if we can get the peel camera working over here. All right. So I'm going to kind of shake this off just a little bit here to let some of the heat out. Drop it down on this metal table to cool it off some more. Use my little cooling pad here to really get it nicely cooled down. So I want this to cool off real nicely because I want to, you know, peel this away. And again, you know, with this tight roll is what I'm doing. So again, this really nice tight roll to roll this away from the shirt. All right. Again, tight roll. I think I've said that maybe once or twice today already, haven't I? Hope I've made the point. All right. We're back over here. Put this back down onto our heat press. And now my other two pieces, if I can get these, if I can figure out where they go. Of course, my main problem is that I'm blind in one eye and I can't see out of the other. I'm an old man. I can't see. So if I can do it, frick, anybody can do it. So I line these up. Hang on, I got a wrinkle in my shirt. You want to make sure, hold on just a second. Yeah, I got a wrinkle in my shirt here. Just 1 second while I get this wrinkle out of my shirt. All right. So I don't want any wrinkles underneath where I'm working. All right, so everything is nice and smooth. Now, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I can't see what I'm doing, so hopefully you can. All right, so we're lining this up. Sometimes you have to sort of move it around to get everything into position. And then the other side, we're doing the same thing with it. Lining everything into the right position. Okay. George? I think I've got that. All right. So now, my design is running off the top of my heat press. So you see how big this is, all right? You know, we're literally filling up. This is a 16 by 20 Insta press. So we're pretty much filling up this whole press with this design. Now again, I'm pressing this on. And what I like to do is I like to just hit it once and just kind of come back and take a look and make sure everything is where it needs to be. And looks like it is. All right, so pressing it again, light to medium pressure, because I just want these to stick on the shirt. And then I'm going to come back during the sealing phase and blend them all together at that point. All right, so another 15, 20 seconds, light to medium pressure. And we are back to our peel cam. All right. Cool these off completely. We want to make sure everything's nice and cool. And then again, this tight, see a tight roll, real critical. Because again, we've only pressed this down with light to medium pressure. So we need this real tight roll to make sure, you know, everything comes off. All right, look at that. So even though you can see the seam because of the difference, you can't see the seam. It's pretty amazing, I tell you. This stuff does a great job. I mean, and these, you know, so these are printed, you know, these sheets, this is off of any of the printers. So I can print these on the 500, you know, the 600, any of them. And look at the size of this design. All right, so we're back. Look at this. Man, wow, it's cool. It's amazing. Hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry about
Everything's
that, guys.
back.
I stepped on my mic. Hey, Josh, you got to send me that link to the wireless mic. That's the one thing I got to get. So we're going to use this to tell Bill to get me a wireless mic next time. All right. Sorry about the interruption there, folks. Anyway, as you saw, I think you saw what I was doing, even though you probably didn't hear me, but you probably heard enough of me anyway. High pressure now. High pressure, important. Heavy pressure. And this is what's going to blend this design together to give us one final piece. $15, $20, $30 seconds. Any other questions out there? All right, here we go. Look at that. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Does that look nice or does that look nice? Folks, look at this. Look at the size of that design. You can't print that on any of these printers. None of them. Let's go over here and take a little bit closer look at it. Look at that. Can you find the seam? You saw where it was. Can you find it? I think not.
You know, I've failed this test multiple times.
Yeah, I have too. And look at this, see? Nice stretchability with that rasterization. This is going to breathe well. It's going to wear well. You know, this is a kid's design on a kid's shirt. It's a big kid's shirt, but it's a, you know, it's a kid's design on a kid's shirt. I mean, look at that. Is that nice or what? And so this was done, you know, effectively on any of the printers. So we've debunked speed. We've debunked the fastness. We've debunked the size. I mean, we're in the screen print business with this stuff, folks. Making big money with it. All right.
The next question is, what type of pad are you using? That you use for the leather?
Yeah, okay. So, you know, there are 2 pads that are available. It's a good question. Here are the 2 pads. So this is called the multi-pad, all right? And I don't know if you can kind of tell, maybe, you know, it's a relatively thick pad as compared to the Speedy Pad, which is a thin one. So these are silicone pads. We have these available, and I don't even have any pricing off the top of my head. The multi-pad is typically used on hard surfaces. So if I'm going to be pressing a design onto a hard surface that maybe has some kind of a porous nature to it, then the multi-pad is the one to use for that. And the Speedy Pad, well, you saw what the Speedy Pad is for, and that's, you know, when you're pressing onto garments that are stitched, or if you're pressing onto things like the leather, where you've got, you know, a pattern in the leather, and it's relatively hard. You know, your platen is absolutely smooth, the media is absolutely smooth, and we need to get a little bit of flexibility so that you can get it into, you know, this grain kind of thing. The Speedy Pad is excellent for that. It's a real thin silicone pad. You know, things don't stick to it. It's got nice release. Typically you use it with parchment paper anyway, but I mean, you can kind of see this one's been used for all kinds of stuff, but they last forever. You know, you buy these once and you keep them for years.
All right. And then we've got one more. Let's see. Yeah, Autumn Snapper. She said she came in just a little bit late, and she wants to know what's the difference between the 500 and 700. I'm sorry, the 500 and 600.
Let's go back to that to the spinning printers. And, whoop, there they are. Yeah. Through the magic of Holden there, my buddy, doing a great job with this, by the way. Very nice. And also thanks to the guys at Uninet for making these videos for us so that we could incorporate them into this presentation.
You're welcome. Happy to help.
All right. So this is, yeah, here we go. This is the 600 and this is the 500. All right. What are the differences between these 2 printers? You know, and frankly, to tell you the truth about it, there's really not that much difference between either one of them. I mean, they are both based on the Oki model. Hey, Joe, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, well, here. Let's let the guy answer the question.
Yeah, as David said, the machines are basically the same. The functionality, the offering, what they come with is exactly the same. The main difference is the printing width. So on the 500, we're limited to 8.5 inches by 52 inches long. And on the 600, on the top, you can do 11.8 inches wide by 52 inches. So it just depends on how large you want to print. And with the addition of that Smart Cut software, you can go even bigger.
other than that, I mean, they both have the same capabilities. They both come with 5 toner cartridges. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Magenta, yellow, cyan, white, black. All right. So you get 5 toner cartridges with it. Now, we can only put 4 of them inside at a time, but you've got all 5 there. So depending upon what you want to do, you can configure the printer to do that. And, I tell you, of course, I've known Joe for a long time. I met Joe, at the very beginning when they first started putting these printers together. And one of the things that I really hit it off with Joe is because I really think he's got the idea right about how to treat customers, how to take care of customers, and how to make sure customers get most value for their buck. I mean, just as we were showing with that box that these ship in, Joe spends, what is it, 40, 50 bucks for those boxes just to make sure that your printer gets there alive. I mean, he doesn't have to do that. If it arrives crashed on your doorstep, UPS is going to pay for that, so he doesn't have to do that. But when it arrives crashed on your doorstep, frick, you're not happy about it. And Joe wants you to be happy, and I like that in the guy. Next thing is that, he's really taking these printers and set them up so that you can get good value out of them. I mean, they have the ability to print with black. They have the ability to print with white. There are times when it would be great to print with black and times that it's great to print with white. Let's do that. And so we did. I mean, it's not freaking rocket science. Well, maybe it is. But anyway, why couldn't Oki figure that out? I don't know. I'm not going to bash Oki. They're a great company as well. I just think Uninet has done a better job in giving customers value. The other thing is that, if I buy the 711 from Oki, or if I buy the 8432 from Oki, doesn't come with a rip. That's $600 extra. They don't come with that black toner cartridge. I mean, that's $100 value itself, all right? And, Oki's going to try and tell you that you can get by without the rip. Why? You don't need to spend that $600. Just buy the printer, you're good to go. Shit, that's not the case. Pardon my English, but that's not the case. I mean, you need the rip. You need the rip. And so Joe this one includes the rip. This one, the rip is optional.
We include the rip with it.
Yeah.
We make sure to include it.
Yeah, so you get these, you get these with the rip. And it's the rip that gives you that capability, the ability to reconfigure this for printing with the black toner cartridge included, the reconfiguring to print with the white toner in the front. All right, these are all things that you can do that come with this rip that, that you just don't get with the Oki product. So, I mean, anyway, don't start me there.
All right. The next one that we have is going to be, can I decide the LPI in the RIP software?
You can, yes, you can, but there is a range of values where it makes sense, and then outside of that range of value, it doesn't make sense. For example, all right, when you go down below about 20 LPI, those dots are so big, nobody's going to buy it, all right? I mean, it's an artifact. Let's face it. It's an artifact in the design. Your customer didn't design your customer didn't design the software with that halftone, except for the guy earlier who says he got a halftone from his client. Hey, good job on that. But, your customer didn't design it with that halftoning, built in. You're going to put that halftoning in, so that makes it an artifact. And this happens all the time in printing. I mean, an example in commercial print is what's called trapping. We trap colors, we overlap colors. It changes customers' artwork to include that artifact, because we need it when we're printing so that we can overcome a shortfall of the printer, which is misregistration, all right? So this is an artifact that we need so that we can overcome the shortfall of a big frickin' piece of plastic on a shirt, all right? So the values that really make sense fall in that low end of 20. You don't really want to go any lower than that. And then on the upper side, it's about 40. I mean, if you go higher than 40, you might as well turn it off and just use screening in the printer, because the half-toning dots are so small that it effectively becomes a solid print again. So we're in this range between 20 and 40, and yes, you can pick any number in there you want.
All right. So the next one is, this is a favorite. The update time has expired. What is the cost and benefits of updating the RIP software?
Yeah, okay, so I just gave you one just a little while ago. And that is the next version of the RIP that's coming out shortly is going to have built-in support for the page sizes coming out of the Smart Cut software. And it's also going to have a button in the RIP that you can use to just load your job into Smart Cut, cut it, and have it come right back into the RIP so that it's ready to be printed. So it's going to save time, it's going to make it easier, it's going to load the job straight away, and you're not going to have to worry about, which paper size that you're working with. So I can take a job, like the first one that we did, where I had the 8.5 by 17 and the 8.5 by 11 sheet sizes in one job, but I had to load it twice because the RIP thinks that, every page in a job has to fit the size that it's loaded with. The next version's not going to do that.
Right. Next, we have one about swapping out toner cartridges. They hear that this could actually damage the toner cartridge. Is this true?
Okay. So if it were true, then these printers should come permanently loaded with a lifetime supply of toner. Do they?
No.
I think not. No, I think not. So I assume then that someone is saying that if I pull a toner cartridge out to put a different toner cartridge in, then it's going to damage the printer, except if it's empty. Then you can pull it out and replace it, no problem, as long as you're buying toners from us, right?
That's the rumor.
Yeah, that's one of the things, I tell you, one of the things in this industry that just drives me crazy is all the rumor mills. We hear rumors about this, we hear rumors about that. I don't like starting rumors. I like stopping rumors, but I really just hate hearing rumors. I mean, facts is this, all right? If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true, So anyway, what's next?
Next, we have a question. They want to know what's the difference between normal toner and sublimation toner.
Joe, you want to jump in and take this one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not sure how this relates, if the question relates to ink, the difference between toner sublimation and ink sublimation, or really if it's between regular toner and sublimation toner.
So the question is, what's the difference between regular toner and sublimation toner?
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, the main difference is regular toner does not sublimate. It's essentially milled and ground plastic that transfers to the garment. It lays on top of the shirt with the transfer paper and the adhesive. Where sublimation toner, it gases at a certain temperature, penetrates the fabric, needs to be a white polyester fabric, and that's a permanent transfer that's stretchable and doesn't require special transfer paper.
All right. So there we have it.
What that means is that I can open my tray down here, and I can put my copy paper in here, and I can print this with the sublimation toner, and I can come to my little heat press right here, and I can set this to about 380 degrees, and I can put a piece of white polyester in there and put that on it and press it, and it'll sublimate into it.
Don't forget your Subliclear.
Yeah, okay. Oh, for hard surfaces, yeah. We need Subly Clean with hard surfaces material. Yeah. Subly Clean. So that's an amazing piece because, the toner is a plastic particle itself. And so when you're pressing sublimation toners onto smooth, hard surfaces, that sublimation toner will sublimate into the polyester coating just like any sublimation will. And what's the benefit? I mean, if I'm printing sublimation on my inkjet printer, I'm going to hit the print button, and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait for it to print. If I'm printing off of this, I can load this up and I can print a ton of sublimation. I can wrap that onto a ton of mugs, throw them in my conveyor belt heat press, run them all through, have really high speed production. I've got a customer who is, they get these wool blankets out of China, and they've got this polyester tag area on these wool blankets, and they do all of this stuff for sports. And so they're printing, all of these custom logos. They're printing them out on this printer with the sublimation ink, taking them in. They've got a bunch of heat presses set up, and they're pressing those quickly, packaging them up, and shipping them out. It's a great operation. They're running a ton of them through with it, and they love it. So sublimation toner does have a place.
Now, what type of cleaning do you have to do when you swap the toners? Like, say if we were doing normal printing and we wanted to do sublimation, can you show us how much cleaning we'd have to do?
Yeah, sure. Glad to. Oh. Let me get my sublimation toner cartridge out from down here. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this or not. This is the heat peel cam here. Is that my dye sub yellow toner? Is that what we see?
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's a lot of work now. You got to get ready for this. All right, so you guys, I hope you got a whole lot of time. I'm done.
Perfect. Just what we wanted to see. So about how many sheets or how many prints can you get per cartridge is the next question. Does the printer have software to tell you the amount of toner that's left in the cartridge?
Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the printer's display will let you know how much toner is remaining, just like any other laser printer. And the cartridge, the software itself has a cost estimator built in as well to tell you exactly how much it's going to cost per print.
Mm-hmm.
So each cartridge has a different yield. CMYK cartridges are 10,000 pages as well as the white. And those sublimation cartridges are 6,000 pages.
So we have another question. They were asking maintenance costs and any cleaning after runs, and there's really none. No, do you know of any maintenance costs?
Maintenance costs. I mean, I'll take that one, Joe, because one of the things that some people do, and it's not a bad idea, all right, is, what you've had your printer for a while. I mean, basically everything that's inside of the printer that is going to affect the print is a consumable item. So the things that do wear out would be, for example, let's look at this. So what do I have here? All right. Well, the top part of this is the toner cartridge. So there's this locking key that you see right here, and if I turn that lock, this is going to fall off because I'm just holding the toner cartridge, but inside of this is where the toner is. This bottom unit, the black part that you see here, this is the drum unit. So that is the drum itself right there. So this is what delivers the toner powder to the paper that's running underneath this. So these are two separate units, all right? When I've printed all of my toner and I'm done with it, then here's what I want to do. I want to leave this locked like this. I want to turn this thing upside down and, oh, I'm sorry. When I've used up my drum, I want to turn it upside down, get all the toner into the bottom, take it out, and replace the drum. When I'm done with the toner cartridge, I want to knock all the toner out of this.
All right, so it looks like David's having a little bit of trouble with his audio right now.
So it's coming up here in just
there we go. David's back now. So you lost audio for a bit.
what did I do? Am I back?
Yeah, we're back.
All right, so this is, this is pulling out. So here we're swapping out the, putting the black in, all right? And then we want to run past this on to the point, yeah, sublimation, right. Yeah, keep going. A little bit further out. All right, so this is where we're taking out the regular cartridges and putting in the sublimation cartridges here. So that configures the printer for sublimation printing. All right, now here we pulled all of the toner cartridges out, so there's two more consumables in the printer at this point. The first one is the fuser. There it is right there. By the way, Joe, correct me if I'm not wrong, but don't you include an extra fuser for these printers?
We do. The iColor 600 comes with one free fuser replacement. So they can use that anyway, anytime within the warranty period.
So, I keep talking about value for the money. Man, I mean, these guys get it right. The reason why he does this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but a lot of people, when they first get these machines and they get started working with them, we're working with transfer media, and transfer media is a thick coated stock, and sometimes that stuff will stick in a fuser when we're learning how to set up the correct media type. And so, during that period, if you mess up a fuser, Joe's going to give you a replacement. Then the next piece is the transfer belt. So let's stop right there. So this is the transfer belt, all right? That little white thing underneath is the waste toner container, where, any waste toner that lands on the transfer belt drops off into that. So that can be taken off and replaced. The transfer belt itself can be replaced. Now, the original question is what kind of maintenance do you do? Some people, and it's probably not a bad idea, will sometimes take all of that stuff out of the printer and then vacuum around inside of it, because sometimes, little bits of toner can land inside the printer. There's some gears that drive all of this stuff. There's the motor that's down inside of there. So some people will sometimes take a vacuum and vacuum around inside the printer, and that's probably not a bad idea. Would you agree, Joe?
Yeah, you could take a vacuum in there. Just keep in mind the printers ship with a toner cleaning cloth. Every printer ships with a toner cleaning cloth. You stretch that out, and you can clean up little toner spills. Makes it really easy.
Geez, another thing you guys include just to make customers happy. Man, I tell you, just every day I learn something new that you guys are doing to make it easier on the customers. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Love you guys.
Well, thank you.
So what question's next? Hey, I got one for you. How about a deal? Let's bring on the deal.
All right. Apparently, I was muted when I was trying to talk to you.
Bring the deal on.
So,
There we go. There's our deal. Okay. So, want to again shout out to the USCutter guys. Nice 10% off for these packages. Smart Save is the coupon code. Josh, tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is the coupon code that we are going to have for all of our Uninet iColor bundles packages. So the ones that we have bundled with heat presses and everything like that, you can use this coupon for additional 10% off. All right. So one final question, and I know that you've shown it already. They want to see a photographic image. And you had shown us one for your wash test earlier, but I'm sure you've got one behind you.
Right here. Just happen to have one handy. This is the one that you were using to make all of your shirts with in your high-speed run. And this is it's a great design because you know, not a lot of nice, intricate detail in the design, but using the rasterization. You know, we're pulling out all of the really dark areas, and we're using the black in the shirt to achieve that dark, but yet still pretty scary looking design.
They were wondering more about something, you know, photorealistic, like say the family that you had sitting on the leaves, the leaves.
Oh, yeah, we'd go to the peel cam here.
And so this is also going to,
I don't know if you can. So this is with the rasterization.
yeah.
And this is the, you know, the full-on print. So again, the rasterization version. All right.
All right. Yeah. Barbara is happy. So well, the last question that we have is from Karen Green. She currently has a Roland BN20 and it tends to print flesh color tones slightly green. I have a color slider in the RIP software to adjust for this. Is there something like that for this printer?
So first of all is, again, this is another good reason to get the iColor RIP. And of course it comes with the printers, but you know, another good reason for having it is because it is actually built on a color management engine that uses ICC based profiles, and these profiles have been made based on these media to really maximize what you can do within the RIP. So you know, you're gonna come right out of the gate with really nice color. But also, in addition to that, in the RIP are certain controls that you can use. So I can adjust the saturation, I can adjust the contrast, I can adjust the brightness, I can adjust individual colors, you know, to adjust the colors. I also, there's a tool in there where I can select the color and make specific color adjustments. So, for example, you know, if I've got a design that's got some, you know, color, I mean, skin tone, I guess, is a color, I can select that color and I can make an adjustment to just change that particular color in a range based around that color in the design without affecting other colors in the design.
All right. And that seems to be it. The last thing we have is Marcia. She met us at the Atlantic City Trade Show and just wanted to say hello.
Hey, I see we had a pretty nice crowd to show up to this. I really appreciate you guys coming. Again, you know, a final little shout out to the White Toner Transfer group on Facebook. Really would love to see, you know, any of you guys join the group and become part of it. It's a great place to get answers. You know, a couple of cases and points is people that had issues coming up, that they're running a job in the middle of the night. They had an issue. They go on the Facebook group, they post their question, and they freaking get an answer. So, I mean, it's 24/7 kind of thing. And there's some really sharp people on there, sharper than me.
Yeah. And so, yeah, just to let everybody know, we will be sending out a copy of this webinar to everyone that attended and that also signed up for it. So no worries on that. We will send you that link tomorrow when we get into work. So other than that, I think that's about it. I'd just like to say a big thank you to David Lewis and Joe Dovey from Uninet for doing this and setting this up for us. And it's been a real pleasure having, just watching this whole webinar. You did a great job, David.
Thanks so much, Joe. I know it's dinner time for you, but I appreciate you sticking around as well.
Thank you, guys. Great job.
Thank you so much, everyone on the East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, nice crowd. Appreciate everybody coming. I really do. Look forward to seeing you guys in the future. C'est la vie.
Bye-bye.